Many thanks for joining us. We begin with junior doctors at the Komfo Teaching Hospital, KATH, who have served notice to lay down their tools indefinitely by the end of March. This is as a result of the absence of their 6-month salary since the beginning of their housemanship in October 2020. The junior doctors protested on their WhatsApp statuses by stating, "Pay us by March." Dr. Cecil, as he has been named for purposes of anonymity, is a first-year house officer at the Komfo Teaching Hospital, currently serving his clinical rotations at the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. He stated, and I quote, "There is a clear-cut difference in attention and compensation that junior doctors in the Western world enjoy as compared to Africa, specifically Ghana. I have never had to chase anything in my life like I've had to for blood and test results. Weekends are not rest stops for these doctors. House officers literally run the entire hospital in the absence of specialists. The effect of health workers laying down their tools could be dire, especially in the current fight against COVID-19. Dr. Pakwesi Baidu is the Ashanti Region Ghana Medical Association president. Dr. Baidu, thanks for joining us. Your junior doctors have not been paid for 6 months. What is the GMA doing about this? Please unmute your microphones, sir.
Okay, sorry. Good morning. I am in the operating room and I had to just step out to deal with this. Yes, they started work a couple of months ago. They started work. Yeah, sorry, in the operating room and I had to. Yeah, so as you said, this is the 5th month of them starting work, and they have to go through biometric registration in order to be put on the payroll by a controller. In December, the Ghana Medical Association, Ashanti Division, were notified about the delays in doing these things. And what we did was to contact the hospital, raising this issue. So in January and I think February, the biometric registration were done. Yeah, the biometric.
Right, Dr. Pakwesi Baidu is president of the Ghana Medical Association in the Ashanti region. But ask that viewers bear with us. He's had to step out of the operating room to take this particular key conversation. We are talking about junior doctors at the Komfo Teaching Hospital who have not been paid for the past 6 months. This issue has come up on social media repeatedly from these junior doctors. Now they have served notice to lay down their tools indefinitely by the end of March. This is because of the absence of their 6-month salary since they began their housemanship in October 2020. Now, they've been protesting on their WhatsApp statuses. They use the hashtag #PayUsByMarch. There's a particular doctor who has been named for the purposes of anonymity, Dr. Cecil. He is a first-year house officer at Komfo Teaching Hospital. He's currently serving his clinical rotations at the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. He stated that there's a clear-cut difference in attention and compensation that junior doctors in the Western world enjoy as compared to Africa, specifically Ghana. He says, "I have never had to chase anything in my life like I've had to for blood and test results. Weekends are not rest stops for these doctors." Now, house officers literally run the entire hospital in the absence of specialists. The effect of health workers laying down their tools could be dire, especially in the current fight against COVID-19. We will be getting back into this conversation very shortly, but for now, let's go straight to the police. And the police have put out a statement about the Easter holidays where they'll be enhancing security. Now, the Christendom, the statement says, will celebrate Easter festivities from Friday, 2nd April 2021 by Monday, 5th April to Monday, 5th April 2021 across the world. In Ghana, this will be characterized by religious activities and amusement events. Now, it says here the police service per its mandate will provide enhanced security during the period. Therefore, appeals to the general public to abide by the COVID-19 restrictions imposed by the President with legal backing of the Parliament of Ghana, as the police will strictly enforce same. It first begins with religious activities. It says churches, mosques, and religious bodies are expected to hold services not beyond 2 hours for 100 participants maximum only, observing all other COVID-19 protocols. Conventions, crusades, pilgrimages, and such large physical gatherings are not allowed. Also, it says carnivals, festivals, beach and amusement events. The hosting of any carnival, festival, beach gathering, street dance, procession, parades, and such events will be illegal. Nightclubs are banned from opening, as well as cinemas and movie houses. All activities of closed-room bars or pubs, including those in hotels, remain illegal. However, open-air drinking spots may operate, provided that they observe all other COVID-19 protocols. Now, operators of tourist sites and attractions may open to the public, provided they ensure the wearing of face masks, social distancing, and enhanced hygiene by all patrons. It also says families may like to take advantage of the holiday period to bury loved ones. The public is reminded it is illegal to hold funerals. Private burials may be held with a maximum of 25 people if held outside the church or religious facility. For church or religious burial services, the maximum number of participants should be 100. Now, in all cases, the COVID-19 protocols are expected to be observed, and the duration shall be 2 hours maximum. Together with road safety partners, police officers would be present at mapped-out traffic congestion and accident-prone areas. There's a road safety advice there as well. Let's stay with COVID-19, and the Bono Regional Directorate of the Ghana Health Service says the only sure means of breaking the spread of the coronavirus is to build a strong immunity among the greater proportion of the populace. The region has recorded 33 deaths from 1,310 cases, including over 380 health workers. Speaking to JoyNews in Sunyani during the first vaccination exercise in the region of the AstraZeneca vaccination, Dr. John Eko Otu, the Deputy Director in charge of Public Health, also assured the over 8,000 health workers in the Bono region taking the first batch of the safety of the vaccine. Precious Semevo has more.
The region has received the first delivery of 7,500 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine for the vaccination of the people in the region against COVID-19. The exercise taking place in all the 12 districts is first targeted at the over 8,000 health workers. The region has so far recorded 1,310 cases, out of which over 380 are health workers. The active case count is 81, with 33 deaths since 2020. At the Regional Health Directorate, Thursday, the director, Dr. Kofi Amokodie, was the first to take the job.
We are happy to have had this vaccine coming in to come and help us really arrest the spread of the COVID-19 diseases. So we are honored to be here to take the first dose to show to the whole Bono region that it has actually been tested and verified to be very safe, and that everybody should be encouraged to take it.
Dr. John Eko Otu, Deputy Director in charge of Public Health, said the exercise in the region is part of building the immunity of the populace to halt the spread of the virus, starting with the health workers.
The only sure way we can stop this outbreak is to build strong immunity in a greater proportion of the population. The bigger the chance that we protect those who even haven't got the vaccine. That's what we call the herd immunity. So this exercise here is part of getting people in this region to build immunity. All health workers in the region, that's both public and private, including the health training institutions, are more than 8,000. But with this 7,500, we believe that we are going to cover over 80% of the population of health workers, and that is very appreciable. The next group of persons we roll out is persons above the age of 60 years, people who have other comorbidities like hypertension, diabetes, and other frontliners like yourself, journalists, the security personnel. We are committed to protect everybody.
The medical director of the Bono Regional Hospital, Dr. Cardinal Newton, after taking his jab, encouraged others to avail themselves for the collective good.
This vaccine is more than safe, and we are not the only people using this. So I urge everybody to take it. Look, if everybody is turning to be an animal and you will remain human being, surely you will be devoured. So people should take it. Now in US, some states, they have even removed the social distance and then it means that we are getting there. People should take it so that we will be free and enjoy our life.
For Joy News, Precious Semevo, Sunyani.
You're live on Joy News Desk. Let's take you to our earlier story where junior doctors in the Confanoche Teaching Hospital are threatening to lay down their tools. Dr. Pakwesi Bedu is president of GMA in the Ashanti region. He is with us via Zoom. Doc, thanks for rejoining us. Sorry about the hiccup earlier. You were telling us the efforts that has been made to ensure that these junior doctors have been paid.
Okay. Am I on now?
Yes, you are on.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. I'm in the operating room and the internet reception here is quite poor. Yeah, so as I said earlier, there wouldn't be any strike action. Yes, the problem was they've been working, I think it is the 8th month. And validation, biometric registration onto the payroll was started somewhere in January. And in fact, our attention was drawn to this delay. So right from January, the Ghana Medical Association, myself and our Vice President, Frank Trevor, we contacted the HR, and we've been doing that. It took some time for all of them to be to do the biometric registration. And then I think somebody assured them they'll be paid in February, and then that didn't happen. But then the hospital told them that, look, there's been delays. So whoever is in financial difficulty, the hospital usually have what we call the interest-free salary advance to them. But I think most of them thought they would be paid, so that wasn't done. When our attention was drawn again to that, we followed up. And indeed, there are about 147 or so house officers in Confanoche. And what happened was, I think the first batch of 57 were validated and will be paid this month. That has been confirmed from controller, that has been confirmed from the hospital, and we have confirmed that with the house officers. And then the next batch, in fact, all of them, including those who were paid this month, the 57, will be paid everything and the arrest. Indeed. Last weekend, I think Sunday, the Ghana Medical Association Ashanti Division, we had a meeting with them on Zoom where we explained all these and the difficulties. Going forward, I think the issue has been happening every year. The question they ask and we address, and I think hope we will just carry it on, is that should you know the people you employ, should we wait for 3, 4, 5 months before doing all this? Can't we start these processes the very month they are employed? If we don't have money to pay them, do we go ahead and employ them? But as we are talking now, we met with them. As I said, the first batch of 57 will be paid. The hospital still has that provision where they will pay you salary advance interest free. So that letter is a week or 2 late. When this issue came up, the Ghana Medical Association met with the hospital, the relevant people, and it's been sorted out. So as far as we are concerned with the strike, it's not an issue. And we will want to assure the general public that there wouldn't be any strike. Not that they don't have an issue. They have an issue, but it has
okay.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be any strike action. And I think the media shouldn't heighten these tensions.
Right.
Especially at this time where we have COVID-19 and we're trying to find our foot. So as far as we are concerned, I work in this same hospital. Management has responded. The relevant people have responded. Those who will be paid will be paid. Those who are not paid now and need money, the hospital has written officially confirm that position, you can go for interest-free loan.
So this month, Dr. Bedu, this month, all 157 of them will receive monies, 57 being their normal salaries and the other 100 being the hospital loans.
Yes, so that one has been open to those who want. You see, last month, I think they were given the opportunity in February, but I think somebody assured them, I don't know who, that they will be paid. That's why most of them didn't avail themselves to that opportunity.
So I just wanted to get that clarity, Dr. Bedu, pardon me, that the payments will begin in March.
Yes, so 57 are going to be paid. That one has been confirmed from including their 5 months or so arrears. And those who are interested in taking the salary advance, that one is not compulsory. If you think you can wait till next month to be paid, you don't need to access it. But if you
and so the other 100 will be paid when?
Sorry?
The other 100 will be paid when?
See, all of them, including those who will be paid now, will be paid in April, and that has been confirmed. Because they finished with the biometrics, everything has been submitted, and they've gotten the approval. So all 147 or so of them will be paid in April. But the first 57 will get this month, that's March, including the arrears, I think from September or so. And then those who will be paid in April will be paid the month of April, including 5 months arrears. So we negotiated, and it's been approved, and a letter to that effect has been issued, that if you need an advance, you can approach the hospital, and they will give you an equivalent of your salary without you paying any interest on it.
Dr. Bedu, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Dr. Pakwesi Bedu is the president of the Ghana Medical Association in the Ashanti region. Our Finance Minister Designate, Ken Ofori-Atta, has defended the process his ministry took with regard to the procurement process in the AGYAPA deal. Speaking before the Appointments Committee of Parliament on Thursday, Mr. Ofori-Atta said the former Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, releasing a corruption and anti-risk assessment report of the transaction without discussing it with the appropriate quarters was a disservice to our democracy. He dismissed suggestions of conflicts of interest as far as Databank's involvement in the controversial AGYAPA deal was concerned.
Policy is to reintroduce the AGYAPA royalties deal. Can you give us the assurance that he's seeking to appoint transaction advisors in the future? You would be compliant with Article 1815 of the Constitution and the decision in Attorney General versus Faro Atlantic Company Limited.
Mr. Chairman, I think I mentioned a fundamental flaw in the approach that the OSP took with regards to whether he gave us a chance to respond or not. And I think that should be of keen interest to this House as just a rule of law. And so to then go on to accept, acknowledge a document in which your citizens were not able to give their views on that, I think it's something that we should not encourage. I do not feel that we broke any rule, and I think the AG will be able to give you a firm assessment of that. Really, there's quite a bit of cynicism with that transaction. And for me, for the House, for such a report to be put out to the public without us or myself as Minister of Finance having a chance to discuss it, I think is a disservice to our democracy. And that is such a fundamental right that I think we all as a people should be careful about such things. And so the speculative issues and the risk associated with most transactions, discussions by resubmitting to Parliament would enable us to work those things out so that it is. But we should also note, I mean, beyond that, and the reason why I brought the act up was the act was well debated and put into motion.
He also said government is working on sealing judgment debt leakages and the impact it has on the economy. Government, he says, has been trying very hard to renegotiate after the court's judgment.
Acceptable growing of judgment debts, all of it occasioned by an act of omission or commission on behalf of ministers of state. They commit the state and then abrogate contracts. The phenomena of judgment debt. What do you intend to do about that as Minister for Finance should you get confirmed? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think, as a corollary to the expenditure commitment issue would be a situation where you don't even get there because it can't even come through. But even with judgment debts, I think we have tried very hard to even renegotiate after the court's judgment. So yes, it's a leakage that we are very aware of and would like to blunt.
Now, Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum says the Ghana Education Service will soon roll out comprehensive guidelines for schools in admission of prospective SHS students. The Ghana Education Service, according to him, is meeting all the relevant stakeholders to realize this objective. This was in response to an urgent question by the Member of Parliament for North Tone constituency, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, criticizing authorities of Achimota School for denying a 17-year-old boy enrollment at the school on grounds of his dreadlocks hairdo. He questions how one's hairstyle can determine a person's character.
Mr. Speaker, Article 28(4) is emphatic. No child shall be deprived by any other person of medical treatment, education, or any other social or economic benefit by reason only of religious or other beliefs. These constitutional imperatives, together with our enviable status as the first country in the world to ratify the Treaty on the Convention of the Rights of the Child on 5th February 1990, impose an obligation on all of us to be circumspect in fashioning out policies, rules, and guidelines that, if proper care is not taken, could undermine or be injurious to the well-being and the rights of the child. Mr. Speaker, it is also trite knowledge that various educational institutions at all levels strive to maintain discipline by adopting a code of conduct, school rules, or general do's and don'ts to regulate the school environment.
Now, in the views of the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Owusu, Rastafarianism includes the smoking of marijuana.
But I also get worried about the attempt to rope in Rastafarianism as a religion. If we do, then we complicate the matters for the young man. The reason is this. If you study Rastafarianism, it involves the smoking of weed. It includes the smoking of weed. And weed is an illegal substance. It is not a substance that is permitted to be smoked. So, indeed, if you recall, in this house, one of the persons that have been brought before this house for contempt of parliament was one person claiming to be a Rastafarian who was on air and said that members of parliament smoke weed. He was brought in this house, he was put before the Privileges Committee, and he was found guilty of contempt of parliament. He was brought here and he was made to apologize and told to go and say no more.
Now, in his response, Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum assured that his ministry is on top of issues and consultations are ongoing to resolve this.
Mr. Speaker, I can assure you that Ghana Education Service, within the shortest possible time, is going to lay out specific guidelines for head of schools as to how we proceed in this environment. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you that meetings have been had, others are ongoing, the ministry facilitating to make sure that our students operate in an environment where they give up their best, not just to themselves but to this nation. Mr. President, is about ensuring that education becomes that vehicle for socio-economic transformation, and that Ghana competes just like any country in this world. That is what has preoccupied us at the Ministry of Education, that we can bring the President's vision into reality.
Now, you can get to social media and get talking on this issue. The conversation is still raging about the position of Achimota School and the actions by the Ghana Education Service, and whether or not the two young men and young women, as we know now, should be allowed to go to the schools they've chosen. Away from that story, though, she wants to move beggars from the streets and wants to be a journalist. That's not all. She also wants to change the perception that once you have a physical challenge, the option is to beg. These are the aspirations of Jennifer, a visually impaired girl whose story has gone viral after she was filmed frying gari. She tells Estina Mosei she has accepted her misfortune. Let's now go to the community of Odotom and introduce you to Jennifer.
Can you work with a knife and fire with your eyes closed? Meet Jennifer, who became visually impaired at age 7. Abandoned by her father, Jennifer lives in the village of Odotom in the eastern region with her mother. The light in her eyes started dimming at age 6 and has not been lit again.
Became blind at, I think, glaucoma, and so we actually went to the eye checkup and stuff at Emmanuel Eye Clinic. Okay. And I was operated on the first day, and everything went well. Okay. But I was a kid then, and I couldn't just understand the reason why all of a sudden you start losing your eyesight and stuff. So the following day, doctor said, so I had to do another surgery in Colombo. Since then, I don't know, my eyeballs just decided to, go inside, so I couldn't even open my eyes normally again, and it all started.
Jennifer has had to deal with stigma, even from those she calls family.
Most people in my family feels like my mom, it's a taboo to have a person with visually impairment, and so this girl can't do anything. And so yeah, I'm always being referred here as a child because they feel like everything that I'm supposed to do for myself, somebody always does it for me. Even a family member said, I'd rather die than having a child like you.
She's currently in Form 2 at Okwapiman Senior High School and is determined to become a renowned journalist and an advocate for persons with disability.
I really want to move beggars from the street into workers. I want to change that concept that once you are a person with disability, you have no option than to go to the street and beg.
She tells us about her friend Benedicta, who's been forced out of school.
She lives in Asokori Mountain, Massive. The lady can sing like her, something. And all of a sudden, this lady stopped coming to school. When you go to YouTube and you type, "My situation cannot stop me," you find her songs plenty. And they have denied the lady access to good education. She lives in the house with them and she now sings in the market. I will be so proud if I will be able to get Benedicta entry back to school for the blind.
Jennifer says her mother struggles a lot, so she helps with her gari processing business to make ends meet. 6 days a week, 4:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. She's able to detect a well-cooked gari by the sound it makes and the scent it diffuses.
The sound changes, the scent, and then how it feels like. So when I hold it, this one, I know that it's not yet Gary.
She enjoys the lighter side of life. She loves entertainment.
So you know, Hits FM does entertainment all day. So you listen from Daybreak Hit to Mr. Hagler to Hits News at 1 to the Afternoon Definition, Mercury Quay, the Dawn, Usiwiti. Oh God, what?
You like Hits?
Dr. Pound. I love Hits. I love entertainment.
Jennifer is appealing to government to equip her senior high school with special teaching and learning materials since she and her visually impaired colleagues are unable to learn mathematics and science, which are both core subjects.
If that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. Jennifer herself has joined us in studio. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm blessed and favored, and you?
I'm also blessed and favored. I like that response you like to give.
Well,
first of all, I have to ask, how do you manage to chop cassava, fry gari, and do all of that without hurting yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. Hi to everyone watching, everyone listening. Okay, so this is my mom's profession. That's a professional job. I believe she went to Legon because of this. and I've been doing this, she's been doing this even before I was born. And so I've learned how to do it. And I was doing it before I lost my sight. And so I had everything in mind. I've been doing a lot of calculations too as well. I went into total darkness for 11 years now as a result of glaucoma. Now I've been, I've been quite doing so well with it because it has been my constant job. Yes, that's the only thing she does, and that's the only way I can help her in life. And so I try not to, at least play stubborn. I try to be the best. I try to do as much as I can, as every normal child could have done, or as every other sight person could have done. Yeah, and so it's all about calculations and how you position the things. And yes.
And you've never hurt yourself before?
I don't think so. I don't think I have a cut.
Looking at her hands, while we're talking. So when you go to school, I mean, this happened 11 years ago. How old are you now?
I'm 19.
So you were about 7 or 8 when this happened. So for the past 11 years, how have you managed in school? Has it presented any challenges to you?
Okay, thank you very much. In school, so it's not all that easy. Knowing fully whether you can see the colors, then when they say this one is green, this one is blue, you can see it yourself, the color of the earth. When they say this person is dark, you know how it feels like. Then all of a sudden, if you want to know whether this money is one city, you take it to somebody way, and you're saying it's very, very, very hard. But that is just life. I had to accept my challenge. I was sent to school for the blind in 2008, right after the second surgery in Kolebu. And that's where I began my education. So I had to start all over from scratch, yes, from KG1 to KG2. I spent 11 years there. And I wrote my BC on, I think I was done on the 14th of June, 2019, yes.
So that should put you in SHS2?
Yes, I'm in SHS2. I'm a good track student.
Beautiful.
A proud man as that.
Beautiful. But we learned earlier that in the school that you're in, you are unable to study some subjects.
Yes, we don't do math and science because we don't have the, science requires experiments mostly. And if you don't have all those things, you can't do. So we lost learning and teaching materials. As in the visually impaired section. Though we're in one class with the people who can see. I'm in an Arts 2 student. I do literature Arts 2. And so anytime there is math, all the visually impaired go out. Anytime there is science, go out. Because to say the truth, even if I were to be a teacher and I'll be teaching and I'll know that some people are not partaking. It's sometimes annoying. So you just have to allow us leave the class so that those who are able to do it. But it's because we don't have the talking calculators and stuff. We can't really deal with calculations and all that experiments. So yes.
So how do you feel? I mean, you want to be a journalist. I mean, you were saying earlier, I'd love to be interviewed by you someday. But how do you feel when you know that you need these subjects to be a journalist and now you can't study them?
Oof. It's so, I don't know, it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot. Knowing fully well that I really wanted to be a journalist. I became so disappointed when I discovered that GIJ is not accepting visually impaired currently because they don't do maths and science. It hurts a lot knowing that you're being turned away from what you want to be just because of maths and science. You don't do maths and science. And you know, they are the basics of life. Without maths, I understand those facts. Yes, without maths and science, it would be too upgradable, you know, so.
No, so from what I'm hearing you say, your school needs calculators that talk and other implements that are specifically designed for persons like yourself.
Yes. We need that to study those two subjects. We really need that to study those two subjects.
Amazing.
So it wouldn't feel like we're excluded, because we've been excluded in all these while. You know, we've been excluded. We don't do maths and science ever since visually impaired started going to senior high school. Yes.
That's really bad. I'm so sorry about this situation, and we are hoping that the authorities who are currently watching can do something about this. You weren't born like this. You had 7 or 8 years where you could see clearly, and then this happened. Tell me about that transition process and how did you feel, really?
So it felt so bad, you know. You, like a doctor giving you this date that, oh, you start becoming blind from, let's just say, on the 22nd of this month, that month. And all of a sudden, for all you know, you wake up on that same day, you have it in mind, God, I'll become blind on this day. And yes, it happens. It's really feels some way. But yes, as I said earlier on, there's nothing I could do about that, you know. I think I was being taken to churches, you know, the pastors, the prophets, reverends, ministers, and all those stuff. But it's got to a time that sometimes I go to church and they'll be like, this girl, your eye will open. I'll say, no, I'm not even here because of that. I've accepted my challenge. Wow. So, yes, it's
Do you feel angry at God sometimes?
Really angry. Oh, at first I used to ask, oh, so God, why me? Why did you do this to me? Why me? And then there was a question in my mind one day that, if not you, then who? Then I was like, oh, so I had to understand. I don't feel angry. I don't get angry with God. Well, He holds the world and He knows what's His best, and He does. Probably if I am to be with Side by now, I would have given birth to 3 or 4. No, so
Jennifer,
I'm okay.
I love how excited you are about your life. And you were talking earlier, my friends are telling me that you said you don't even want anyone's sympathy at all.
Yes.
You trust me, you don't look like someone who should get sympathy. You're too dressed up and good looking for that anyway. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you
all
too.
The best. Okay. I sincerely hope that you get those implements you need to study maths.
We get those implements. And for everyone, this video, my TikTokers and the Instagrammies and stuff, you can follow me on Instagram at queen_Jeeta. That's queen_JEETA. And then it's the same name on TikTok too. Don't worry if it's too complicated, yes, because I'm a queen of my own world, you know?
Okay, so let's move from the queen of her own world to a few other stories before we wrap up. It was built close to a century ago and served not only as a permanent abode to the overlord of the Wala Kingdom, but also serves as the political, religious, and traditional symbol of the Wala traditional area. The iconic Wanas Palace, built with mud bricks and having Y-shaped wooden columns, that supports its flat roofing is our next destination in our Ghana Month series. JoyNews' Rafiq Salam reports.
Located at the heart of the one municipality and bounded to the left by Limairivore and to the right by Iji is a beautiful and iconic Wanas Palace.
This building is a worldwide thing. The whole world knows about it. People do come here to see the building and goes away. Once it is a monument, and we are proud of it. We, the royals of Wa, we are very proud of it. This monument or architecture, you can see it anywhere.
It was constructed using sun-dried mud bricks. Unlike other Asian buildings, it has a Y-shaped wooden columns to support the flat roofs of a boost pole framework covered with mud. Its architectural style is a combination of forms and influences from the Moorish architecture in Sahel, Sudan. As part of the Ghana Man series, I took a tour of the palace, regarded as one of the finest and last remains of Asian architectural buildings which needs to be preserved. Nasalu Jongara hails from the Yijila Gate and currently occupies the Duwe Skin. He told me how the idea of the building of the palace was mooted.
This was initiated by Isaka Dabila of Wa Limayiri, who is an imam, or who was an imam. After constructing the central mosque by architecture from Bona, Yahya Bundana was the sole financier of the central mosque. So after that, Isaka saw it in his wisdom, brought them here, the replica of the central mosque, and then what they had at Bona. So it was the same architecture he brought here. So he started it with Napelipu coming in. It was at Bangmarayiri where the bricks were laid, these local bricks. And here wall was red clay. That is why they call here Ije up to Bangmarayiri. Where Alaji Insa semi-story building is situated. That was where they manufactured the bricks from, they mold the bricks from. So carrying them there to this place, it was Limayiri, Tagadayiri, plus the Wala Royals. They were bringing in the bricks and the palace was constructed by them.
Before the construction of the palace, there was no central or permanent palace for the Wana. Each of them were staying at their respective palaces constructed for their gates. Inside the Wana's palace is a sitting room who serves as a court. Here, the Wana sits on either the lion's or the antelope skin. Any other person coming in here, including the imams who serves as the spiritual godfathers, either has to sit on a cow or a sheep skin.
This is the antelope skin, and these two are the lion skin. This is one. This one you see that it's more than 150 years here. So as well as this. They are very, very old.
So why is the one sitting on the antelope or the lion skin?
It is our symbol of authority. Because he is the overlord of all chiefs here.
You're live on JoyNews Desk with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up in business, the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, is pushing for expenditure tracking measures to help check budget overruns. Daryl Kwao is standing by with the latest.
Hi everyone, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research is pushing for expenditure tracking measures to help check budget overruns. Government over the years has ended each financial year spending far more than what it mobilized in revenue. This results in a huge budget deficit which affects funding for capital projects and priority sectors. But speaking at ISE's 2021 budget review, Director Professor Peter Korte noted this move will ensure value for money and cut wasteful expenditure.
So initiatives. And there's also one thing we need to do that we protect the public purse. We guard and ensure that there is value for money for whatever spending that is being undertaken. So you and I, we are going to be watchdogs. If you see misapplication of funds, we need to draw the authorities' attention to it, the media especially. We are all here. We need to police, track some of this spending and ensure that we get value for money for whatever we pay for. We are going to, you and I are paying for the taxes. We are going to pay for most of these activities, and therefore ought to ensure that the monies are used for the intended purpose. If that happens, there is certainly going to be positive net effect.
Now, did you know that regular soybean intake may alleviate the symptoms of menopause and reduce your risk of prostate and breast cancer? While in Ghana, the mention of soybean directs the mind to poultry and aquaculture, hence is consumed on a small scale. Joy Businesses Odilia Ntiamwa engages Solomon TESFAMARIAM, Country Director for Plan International, and talks about investing in soybean farming, especially for female farmers.
We're actually planning to reach to 12,641 women. And the reason why the launch was delayed is because of COVID. In the case of Plan International Ghana, we actually started the program a year ago. So as a coincidence, we're actually having our first program review for the first year, while also planning for the next year tomorrow afternoon. So it has already started. But of course, with COVID, there's been a lot of implications in terms of our ability to sit together like this and to have a face-to-face engagement like we had today.
You said it's been a year, so what would you say has been the impact so far, especially for these women? Cowpea takes, soya takes how long to grow? Have they started harvesting? Is this within this 1 year already? Are they seeing the fruits of this project?
You know, when you start implementing this size of a program, there is a lot of startup process. So from the time that we were notified that we were one of the successful grantees, we've actually spent time in terms of identifying who our partners would be and who our beneficiaries would be. Because we don't start a program and start it immediately. You know, there is the identification of beneficiary process, then the hiring of staff. We do have a very competent Ghanaian who is actually going to manage this program. So that's basically where we've spent the majority of the time. But where you see significant impact in any grant is actually from the first and second and third year. And that's basically where we are putting significant investment on. Yeah.
Why was cowpea chosen for this project?
Yeah, which one?
Why was soya being chosen for this project?
It's just, one of them is soya. As you heard from Oxfam, Ghana, they are actually focusing on cocoa and shea butter. Because we want to use the existing crop that the women and the girls are used to grow. In our case, the reason why soya was actually chosen is because it has huge need, especially in the export market outside Ghana. Even though we don't use it much within our context in Ghana, it has huge potential in terms of export and also to generate foreign currency for Ghana.
After the 5 years, you say that it will be very important for government to take over this project.
Right.
What is the expected impact on these women, these over 12,000 women, within the space of between 4 to 5 years? What are the expected outcomes?
I think, as many of the speakers have proved today, when women have significant income that they generate on their own, it has a huge impact on the family, you know, the children, the wider community. And that's really one of the greatest plans that we have, is that the benefit, whether it's financial or education, or from even medical perspective or overall well-being, we're really hoping that this would actually benefit not only the 12,000 direct beneficiaries, but many more.
Catch the full interview as well as get to know how soybean is processed into other products. Tune in to JoyNews on Saturday at 6 p.m. Repeat is on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. That's it for business. Sports is up next.
And that's it for this bulletin of Joy News Desk. My name is Daniel Daze. Many thanks for joining us. Up next is Joy News Interactive with Mapito Subidi. See you at midday when we join you with Joy News Today.